Hi everyone. Today we've got Rebecca, who is a mother of three, sharing her journey. She's got an eczema baby, well, eczema child now, and she has kindly agreed to come on here. She's a mother of three, and I'm just so grateful, Rebecca, that you're here today because I know you're so busy. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I really want you to share your story because it's been very difficult with Eliza, and you know, the eczema comes in various forms and severity, and you've really had a difficult journey with her. Would you mind sharing where you were at before we started working, why you started working with us? Should we start there first, and then what happened as we started our journey together?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eliza didn't have any eczema or anything until she got to about 5, 6 months. And it started off really slowly, just kind of little patches on her legs, on her arms, on the back of her neck. And then suddenly by about 9 months, it was just all over her face, her hands. We had mitts over her hands or socks on her hands all the time because she was just getting to that age where she was trying to crawl around, and any second she could, she was scratching. She had endless skin infections and just wasn't sleeping. She was so irritable. She wasn't drinking. She just was an unhappy, uncomfortable baby. And she, obviously, being our third, was so different to our other two. And it just seemed to happen so quickly. There were no signs when she was tiny. So we went to our doctors a few times. They suggested that we just gave her steroid creams and carried on, but it just seemed to get progressively worse and worse. And actually, we didn't see any improvement at all. If anything, it was still just getting worse and worse. We then went back to our doctors. They suggested possibly that it was a cow's milk protein allergy, and they took her off of any dairy and her formula, and they changed it to a different formula. Again, we didn't see a massive improvement, and she still was really unsettled. She then was being projectile sick quite a bit when she was having her milk, and it just, something just wasn't sitting right. Like, she just still wasn't happy. Her skin was getting worse and worse. It was really hard for all of us because we couldn't do anything. Our other two children, you could see it was really impacting them because we had a really unsettled, unhappy baby. She was keeping us all awake
Mm.
at night, and it just kind of was unbearable. And it was so hard for all of us. So we went back to the doctors again. They told me because she hadn't got any better changing her formula and removing the dairy and soya from her diet, they told us to put her back on the dairy and soya because clearly it wasn't that, and it was just eczema. We then got referred to dermatologists, and we got sent away with even stronger steroid creams than what we had before. And this cycle, it just felt like we weren't being heard and we weren't being listened to. And we were just told we just had to get on with it. But it was so hard because nobody was kind of here in this circle apart from us seeing the unsettled baby, the not sleeping, the not
Mm.
eating, the constantly being sick. And it just was horrific. So we then went and found a private doctor. We went to Dr. Costa and saw him, and he again straight away said to us, take her off of the dairy, change the formula. We swapped over to a different milk, and that made a difference. But then we found after a couple of weeks, her skin still wasn't clearing up, and there was still obviously something else going on. Although there was an improvement, it just still wasn't much of an improvement. She still wasn't sleeping. Like, it wasn't great. So we then found you. You were on his. You recommended by Dr. Costa. I know you both worked together,
Mm.
but we found you. And I remember our first phone call. I think I cried the whole time, and that was all I did because I think you were the first person, apart from Dr. Costa, that actually listened and understood and just let me kind of get everything out that we needed to. And you were so kind of positive with it, like, we're going to try this and we'll do this and we'll do that. And from that first call, we were tracking her food every day and filling in this diary for you every day and pictures of her skin. It was like you were here with us because I was uploading pictures 4 or 5 times a day. I was adding everything that we were eating, like she was eating and drinking. And straight away we started to make those changes. And that was when we made a difference, and we could see the patterns of what was happening with her food and her flare ups and what the kind of what was going on there. But
Mm.
we also quickly found, I think, that there was much more going on, and actually we could have taken everything away from her and we still wouldn't have made a
Fully
huge difference
resolved it.
in
Yeah,
what was going
yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah.
So it was a long time, wasn't it? I think
It
I remember
was.
our first call and we were like, we're going to do this and it's going to be amazing. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how you feel, but I guess once you get into it and you get to know them, sometimes it must be a kind of quick or a small change and that's it, done. But we
Yeah.
just seem to be finding hurdle after
There was
hurdle after
so
hurdle,
much
didn't
with
we?
Eliza. There was so
It
much.
was. And
S-
it was so tricky, wasn't it, to kind of pinpoint what was going on. And I think also
Yeah.
by having the other children, she obviously wants to do everything that they're doing, and not just food based. We also obviously we found out in the end there were lots of environmental allergies and triggers that were affecting her, but it was so hard to work out what was going on
Yes.
when it was happening, and because there can obviously be delayed reactions and instant reactions, it was a minefield, wasn't it? It was
It
crazy.
was. It was. We tried different things, didn't we,
We
Rebecca?
did.
And there
We
were
tried so
some
many things.
improvements, but there could be more improvements. So at that point, you went back to see Dr. Costa, didn't you? And then you had another test done.
We did, yeah. So
Um,
we went back to Dr. Costa. He did
yeah,
an allergy test for us. And I remember getting the message of the results of what came through. And I think we were shell shocked because I think
yeah.
I was just expecting it to confirm that she had a dairy allergy and a soya allergy or a reaction to those. But we were surprised. There was a lot of things that came up on her allergy sheet, which actually, in a strange way, obviously, it was really surprising to see all of those, but it actually made me feel better because I think I'd felt like I
Mm,
was going insane because we just couldn't
yeah.
pinpoint what was going on and what was causing, and you just kind of feel a bit useless, don't you? But I
Mm,
think when the long list of allergies and reactions and things were kind of in front of us on paper, I remember showing my husband and just being like, I can't believe it. What, no wonder we couldn't
yes.
find a way, because obviously before we got in contact with you, we did try, the doctor said try no dairy, try no soya, but you also we looked ourselves and thought, well, maybe if we don't give her this day, and maybe if we don't do this, but we never ever, without you, we never would have got to know what was going on, because half of the things we either hadn't introduced into her diet before or hadn't realized probably before her skin had got really bad and we started to look more. I never realized that bread had soya in it and it had E number, like all these things. I never would have known
Mm,
some of the things she was having because
yeah.
I just have never had to look that closely at everything. So it was
Mm,
really eye opening to get her allergy
mm,
results back and to see. But also, it did give a little bit of comfort because I just thought that I haven't been going insane all this time. There has been a lot going on behind the scenes, and we never, for example, her environmental allergies. She has a severe dog dander allergy. She has um, beach pollen allergy. She has certain grasses she has an allergy to. Like, we
yes.
never would have known that. But also, we're outside all the time. We go, like, it's impossible. And a lot of our
Exactly.
family had dogs. So I think
Yeah.
it just made it really apparent that there was so much more going on. And
Yeah.
although it obviously doesn't cause the eczema, there was such a pattern of everything that came back on that
Yeah.
allergy test was then triggering her eczema to flare up, and it was just this vicious cycle that we just couldn't get
It
out of.
was. It was, I think, with Eliza, what I really want people to know, because she is, I mean, we've got a handful of very severe eczema patients, and Eliza is one of them. And,
Yeah,
you know, sometimes with food, you see really great results, but then sometimes you see maybe 50% better results, but to go the extra 50%, it could be environmental factors as well. It's not always just food that can trigger eczema. And I think Eliza is such a perfect example of that, isn't she? Because there is just so much more
absolutely.
going on.
And I think that's why it was just felt like such a long journey, didn't it? I mean, it
Yeah,
was last July when we first got in touch with you, and I just
yeah,
remember just crying and crying through that phone call.
yeah,
But
yeah,
we were just at a loss, and we just didn't know where else to go or what else to do.
yeah.
And obviously, the food. As soon as we found out what her allergy results came through, you were then amazing. I mean, you've been amazing the whole time. But we then tried the cycling method, didn't we, to slowly bring food back in, and
Yes.
that really is so interesting and amazing. Obviously, that's not my background at all, but it was so
Yeah.
interesting, the understanding of building up that tolerance and working with
Yeah.
it. But also, even with that, you were with us every step of the way. We were like messaging every day, sending pictures again every day. What you were telling me exactly how much of each thing to give her. Like it was just, we never would have even got that far. And we have managed to, haven't we? We've managed to reintroduce some of those foods back into her diet by doing those methods, which is
Yes.
great because it was such a long list that just
Yes.
managing to
It
reintroduce some
was
of
a
those
lot.
is
Yeah.
great. And even now we're still working through them, aren't we? But
Yeah.
it is honestly, you've been so helpful. I think even just knowing that you're here on the app to talk us through it, and I've sent you pictures before and gone, I just can't work out what this is, but it's just gives you that confidence because you know what you're doing and you've seen it before, or we've spoken to Dr. Costa to go through
Mm.
things. Like it's just been such a good support. It's been really helpful. I mean, it got really scary at one point, didn't it? Because she lost all of her hair and it just
Oh,
her
yeah.
bloods were all out of sync because of the allergies and everything. But again, you were with us all the way through and checking in all the time, and it was just that extra reassurance, I think, going through that.
Yeah, it's been such a journey. And I think this is for Eliza, it would never have gone forward without the communication between Dr. Costa, you, and myself. I think like that sort of collaboration because she has so many allergies and she has very severe allergies and it just shows how collaboration, but also the acknowledgement between eczema and food, right?
Yeah,
Because that's who Dr. Costa is, and that's what I do as well. And I love working with him because he's got that. He's an expert, right? So, how did you feel
100%.
to finally find people that actually acknowledge the link between food and eczema?
It was huge. I mean, our first appointment with Dr. Costa, again, I think I cried at that one because it was again like the first person in a medical kind of background that listened to me, because I'd had arguments with dermatologists, arguments with my doctors, arguments with the nurses, arguments with the allergy people, refuse the allergy clinic for the NHS refused to see her. Like it just was such an uphill battle with everybody. And I remember going to see Dr. Costa before I had spoken to you, and he was like, we can do this, 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 and this. And he was so calm and collected and just there. And then I obviously spoke to you. And then I remember going to him again when her hair was falling out. And he just was like, no, this isn't right. We're doing this, 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 and this. And I think we were all speaking between each other, weren't we? We've had calls, like the three of us. And it just was so nice to know that we had both of you there for support, but also like even just checking in and saying, how is she today? How are you today? Like we hadn't had that from anybody through this whole thing. And like I say,
Mm.
I honestly, before we got the allergy results, you just feel like you're going insane. Like you're like, what am I
Mhm.
missing? There must be something.
Yeah.
So it made such a big difference.
I'm glad.
It
I'm
did.
glad. So tell everyone, where is Eliza today? Like, what is she like today?
She is good now. So we call her the small but mighty one in our house. So she's the youngest of three children, and she's the smallest. She's very diddy. Everybody says she's like a baby doll. So she's just turned 2.5. She is sleeping now. She's in a big girl bed. We're still working on her food, so we're now working through the milk ladder. But
Yes.
again, the great thing is, like you've said before, let's just give her a break for a minute because she's had a really tough few weeks, or we worked through something and it wasn't like rush, rush, rush. We need to do this, we need to do that. It was
Mm.
at her pace. So we're taking it slowly. I think she's
Mm.
been through so much that actually rushing through it just isn't going to help because there are
No.
so many factors.
Yeah.
It would just make it more confusing again, and we would end up taking steps back. So
Yeah.
she's doing really well. We've managed to reintroduce, I think, 4 of the foods that came back on her allergy test. We're doing the milk ladder now. She still has bad days, but I think a lot of her bad days, the environmental factors are really what we're struggling to keep on top of
So
now. And I
right with
think
that.
in a way, the food is obviously, it's scary, and it feels like sometimes if I know I'm giving her something and it could give her a reaction, it's kind of that mind over matter, isn't it? Because I think I'm feeding her something and she could react to this, but then you have to think of the bigger picture and think, actually, this is for her own good because we're
Mm.
building up that tolerance. And if you don't try, you don't know. So we are
Yeah.
good. She is, I think now she's getting to 2.5. She just knows her own mind and knows what she wants. But also, where we've been playing around with her food so much, I think we're now finding there's a little bit of resistance, and she wants to take control. So if she doesn't want something, how many times I've had to say to you,
Yeah.
we're on step 2 of the milk ladder, and she just will
That's
not eat
refusing.
that. She at one point
Mm.
she was even, no, it will make me sick. Like, she's just,
Oh,
if she
it's
doesn't want something, she doesn't want it. But also, I'm
mm.
obviously really conscious that we have been on such a journey with her, and when we have taken things away or we've done tests and things, like, it must have a knock-on effect on her. So
Definitely.
again, we're trying really to not give her full control, but to let her try what she wants. But we are
Key.
getting some resistance with that. But again, we've come on so far from where we were.
Yeah.
She's managing to eat, she's eating all sorts of fruits that she wouldn't eat before. She will try things, but she's also, I think she's just a stubborn girl. And I think
Yeah.
we've just got our work cut out with her. I think she's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the feisty one, but she is doing really well. And actually, to the point that we've just managed to start preschool with her. So because of her environmental factors and the food as well, because it is a scary one, she's only ever been with me, but she
Yeah.
is now in that much of a better place
So
that
good.
I think if we don't try now, who knows when we'll try. So
Exactly. Yeah.
we're doing that. She's in a
Very
better
good.
place, and her preschool are amazing. They're really understanding it. It really helps actually that the manager there,
Mm.
she has a child that has several food allergies. So I think
Oh, that's
instantly there
helpful.
was this kind of, oh, you understand like how I feel, and that kind of put our mind at ease. But she, compared to where we were last July, I think we're in a much stronger place than we were. And even from then, like the journey that went through, I'd say the end of last year was probably when we were right in that cusp of
Ooh,
no hair, no sleep, it was just
so hard.
horrendous. But I feel like we've come out the other side now. Um,
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
hopefully it stays that way. But
I
definitely, I
think
think
so. I think
without
it's
your
upwards
support,
now.
I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
think we're on the way
So
up.
basically, Eliza has environmental allergies, food allergies, delayed and non-delayed, isn't it? And
Yes. And
obviously,
that's where it's so difficult, isn't it?
that's where
Because
it
you
gets tricky. And that's what
yeah,
I want people watching this to know as well. There's very often where with eczema, it could just be a delayed food allergies. And those are easier. You, not because not
yeah.
anything's easy, but they're easier to sort of manage in a way. Like, well, not to pinpoint because they're difficult to
Yeah,
pinpoint.
and that was the big issue, wasn't it, that we
Yeah,
had, because
yeah,
she would try something and then 2 days later there'd be a reaction and we think, was
exactly.
it this or was it that or was it you? And
Do you
that's
remember
where
when we
you're,
tried almond and
yeah,
was it almond butter in early
on
days? She hadn't been
and
exposed to it and she had an immediate flare. And
and
obviously
and
that showed that she needed allergy testing. So when a child has
yeah.
that sort of reaction, we go, okay, this is a possible IgE allergy, so an immediate allergy. So we ticked that on the box, didn't we, as a
And I
potential.
think that's where it's so scary, isn't it? Because every reaction, and even now, like
Yeah.
her reactions now have completely changed. But at one point, her lots of her bloods were abnormal. Her IgE level was sky high. I mean, I think it got to 5,000 at one point because it was so
Yeah.
high, and the reactions. But every single reaction has been different, and even now they have changed to how they were. But it's different every day. So if you didn't have the support like we had from you and from Dr. Costa, I think you would just be at such a loss of
Yeah.
understanding. But also, it's really scary. I mean, her first reaction so far, we've never had an anaphylactic reaction, and I like touch wood, we've
Touch
never
wood.
had one. We do have an EpiPen just in case, and I think that again is a little bit of reassurance for me, knowing that we have that, we take it everywhere, and if we needed to we could use it. But some of her reactions are so instant. She's still sitting at the table eating, and you can just see like it just starts to come here, and then her lips a couple of times have swollen. I mean, luckily we've not been any more, it hasn't affected her breathing or anything like that, so in that respect we're very lucky. But it's terrifying, especially, I mean, I was at home once on my own and she had this reaction and I thought, oh no, what do I do? And I'm
It's
sat
so
there with the
hard.
EpiPen thinking, do I use it? Do I not? Like, and then it just changed again within 10 minutes. And I think, did I just imagine that? Like, what's going on? So it's so scary. And knowing that
So
you're
much.
responsible for this little person to,
Mm.
and you're controlling, especially with the food, I think is a real battle against yourself because you're controlling what they're having. So the guilt of knowing that you've given them something and it's caused a reaction, even though we know potentially, especially during this cycling method, we know potentially it could give her a reaction, but the whole purpose is to
But
build up
it's
her
very
tolerance
slow,
to
a
it.
plan I've given you.
Yeah.
And obviously that's
And
because she's very high risk. Not high risk, very high risk.
yeah.
Eliza is, so it's a very
And
cautious
that's it.
plan.
But I think without having you by our side or on the messages and things, I never would have done that. And even that, I remember being so scared. I was saying to my friend, I don't know if I can do it today. Like it's
Oh,
really difficult, isn't
so
it?
difficult. Yeah, you've done so
It is.
well. And I know you have so much on your plate, but you're still documenting on the app and, we talk
Yeah.
regularly. And that's also how we are able to help. Like without that communication, it's impossible. So,
And it's
but
really funny
yeah.
how quickly you get used to that. Like when we first started to do it, I think there were a couple of times I'd gone 2 days and I'd completely forgotten and thought, oh no, I've messed all of this up. But then when we had a break from needing to do it because we were giving her a break, it felt really alien not to be taking pictures of her food and taking pictures of her. Like it just became habit. But it's so handy and
So
so convenient as well. I mean, I've worked with different systems where you've had to take a picture on your phone and then email it to your laptop and then upload. But it's so easy on your app. You literally have my phone, take a picture, the app's on the phone, and it's just like
brilliant.
sending
Yeah.
a picture to any, like it was so easy and so seamless. I mean, you must just spend hours and hours going through everybody, all of your clients ones, but
Yeah, but
it's
I have
so
to see
easy.
everything, otherwise it's not help. As you know, you have to see everything, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Um, so what would you say to someone watching who has an eczema baby and who's given up on everything?
I think it's so difficult, isn't it? And I know I'd got to the point when things were so bad, you spend all night kind of trailing the internet and just looking for these miracle creams or
Uh,
miracle this and miracle that.
Feel
And
your gut.
yeah, and I think so much of it now we've kind of got to this point. I think I was such a sucker. I bought this and I bought that and I honestly believed at one point that this magic cream was going to make all of it disappear. Like bearing in mind her hands were covered 24 hours of the day with socks or mitts so that she couldn't scratch. I actually thought I could buy this £50 cream and it was going to disappear. And I think it is so hard as a parent, but if you're doubting yourself and you feel like you don't know what to do and you feel useless, it isn't that you're useless. It's probably like Eliza's. It's so complicated. I don't think anybody could have worked that out. It's
Mm.
so tricky. And I think even with yourself and Dr. Costa, if you weren't working together and speaking together, we never would have got to where we were
Yeah,
now. And
definitely.
you two have both been doing that for years. So I think if you have any doubt and you just feel helpless, come and find somebody like you because it made such a difference to all of us. Like it really did, just to feel listened to. Because again, the chances are, if your baby has severe eczema, you've been to your doctors and you've been told take this cream and go away, or you've been to the dermatology department and they've told you take this other cream and go away. Like to for them to have severe eczema, you must have kind of gone through certain lines, but it really did. I don't think we would have got to where we were without both of you
Mm.
doing what you did. So it made a massive improvement.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Rebecca. I know we
I feel
can
like
go
I've
on,
rambled
but
on there.
I'm mindful it's dinner time now for you and the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's
Oh,
nearly bedtime for them,
oh, it's
so
nearly bedtime. Yeah, I'm
nearly
so
bedtime.
grateful. And um, I know you're also active on social media. Do you want to promote your social media on here whilst you're
So
on?
I just, again, from my own experience, I on TikTok, I have just started a page with some of Eliza's journey. So it's just called Eliza's Eczema Experience, but purely because I found other parents' pages with children that were really similar to Eliza. And it's just nice to share them because if you are lost, especially in the middle of the night when you're scrolling because your baby's
Yeah,
not sleeping, it was just nice to see, obviously not nice to see, but it was nice to know other people were in the same position and you're not alone. So that just
yeah.
it just gives a little bit of comfort. And I think it's such a long journey, and unless you're in that, nobody understands the toll that it takes and how hard it is for all of you. So I think it's
So
just
much.
nice to kind of have that with other parents. And I've spoken to a lot of people on there, and it's just nice to share your stories, or not so much share your tips, because then you end up down the road of this miracle cream and this
Oh,
and that's
yes.
scary. But it's just
It's so
nice to time.
personalized. It's so
It is,
personalized, isn't it? Which is why I just
really is.
we have to be so careful with this. All our eczema kids are following different plans. None of them
Yeah,
are. Some of them have they go through it easily, some medium, and then we have patients like Eliza who are high risk, you know. So it's so
yeah.
different.
And it
So
is,
thank
but I think
you.
it's so nice on social media, the good side of social media, because there's so many negative things, but I think it's just nice also just to see, maybe just to see a baby like her that has come out the other side. It gives you that
Yes,
hope that actually by
yes,
using the right people and going down the right channels, you can get to that as well. So I've just
yes.
found it quite nice to share, but also to see other people's stories. So
It's wonderful.
that's what we do.
Thank you
But
so
yeah,
much.
no,
Thank you,
thank you so much.
Rebecca. I'll
Thank
stop the
you.
recording now.
Okay.
Thank you.